Yes, yes, so Hairless here. Today we are back with a Patreon request. Thank you to Juliana for this one. This is VoicePlay's newest release, Human by Rag and Bone Man. I know basically nothing about Rag and Bone Man, but I do know this song, or at least the chorus of it. I've just been listening to it a few times to refamiliarize myself. It has over 2 billion views on YouTube, so it's a popular one.
I'm only human after all, don't put the blame on me.
Quite Hosier-esque in my opinion, but his voice is quite different. VoicePlay's lineup today is with Anthony Gajula, whom we've seen before in their cover of 7 Nation Army. So let's see what tricks VoicePlay have up their sleeves today with this one.
Maybe I'm foolish, maybe I'm blind, thinking I can see through this and see what's behind. Got no way to prove it, so maybe I'm lying. But I'm only human after all. I'm only human after all. Don't put your blame on me. Don't put your blame on me. Take a look in the mirror, and what do you see? Do you see it clearer, or are you deceived in what you believe? 'Cause I'm only human after all. I'm only human after all. Don't put your blame on me. Don't put your blame on me. Some people got the real problems. Some people out of luck. Some people think I can solve them. Lord heavens above. 'Cause I'm only human after all. I'm only human after all. Don't put the blame on me. Don't put the blame on me. Yeah. No.
Don't ask my opinion. Don't ask me to.
Okay. A little initial thoughts pause. As we know, VoicePlay are fine with copyright. Thank you, VoicePlay. So I will just play this one all the way through and go over everything at the end. But yeah, initial thoughts. How far through are we actually? About halfway. Before coming into this, I always am wondering what VoicePlay are going to do because they can do literally anything with rhythms, with harmony. So coming into this one in particular, I really didn't know because the original song itself is quite simple. Overall, it's quite repetitive. Simple and repetitive, by the way, doesn't mean a bad thing. There are so many elements to music that make a song what it is. Let's just listen to a bit of the original song. I'll go to a random point in the video.
You deceive in what you believe.
So immediately we can hear the bass part, which Jeff is doing very well. Obviously down the octave. Super simple, super repetitive. Synth chords, not changing, just a sustained chord in the background. The melody, a random yeah type sound in the background. And the beat. Put them together and it creates the sound of the song. Change one thing and the song will sound quite different. Then of course comes the harmony, the chords you use, in which order. Are you going to use only 2 chords or 3 or 5 or 7? Well, this song is one of those songs that not only uses few chords, but when it uses them is important because for the first verse, for example, there's no changes. It's literally 1 chord. The easiest way to show you will just be by Googling Rag and Bone Man human chords. So here we are. As we can see, the first verse is B minor. Still B minor, still B minor. It only changes on after all, I'm only, and then again, human after all, don't put the blame on, and then back to the beginning. So in my head, I'm thinking VoicePlay can go about this 2 ways. They can either stay fairly true to the original and do other changes elsewhere, maybe who's singing which part, how high they're singing, the rhythms, as we know, I call them the masters of rhythm, or they could do the other approach and start putting harmony in there that does not exist in the original because there's not that much harmonic change in the original. Well, so far they have gone with the former. Things are fairly true to the original song, which is quite surprising, but not overly surprising because, again, of the nature of the original song. So let's carry on. We still have the whole second half to go. And yeah, I'm just really curious to see what they do. I don't know if they're going to stay like this till the end. Are they going to change things up massively? Who knows? Well, you might have seen this song before, so you will know. And what I'm saying might sound a bit silly, but that's the risk of giving thoughts before something has happened. I'll just rewind a few seconds and go from Jeff's bit.
Don't ask my opinion, don't ask me to lie. Then beg for forgiveness for making you cry. For making you cry. 'Cause I'm only
put your blame on me. Don't put your blame on me. Well, some people got the real problems. Some people think that I can solve them. Lord heavens above, I'm only human after all. I'm only human after all. Don't put your blame on me. Don't put your blame on me. I'm only human, I make mistakes. It's all it takes to put the blame on me. Don't put the blame on me.
Cause I'm only human after all. Well, I'm only human after all. Don't put the blame on me. Don't put the blame on me.
Cause I'm only human, I do what I can. I'm just a man, I do what I can. Don't put the blame on me. Don't put the blame on me.
Oof, another case of ending an a cappella song on a funky chord. What we got there in this case was the root chord, B minor, with the 7th note here, this A added in, creating a minor 7th chord, which is quite an uncommon chord to end on, I should think. A chord that really bears unresolution. It's funny what I was saying at the midpoint pause, because the second half is where we just saw so much of the growth. They started doing all the funkier rhythms, the harmony for sure they started playing around with, getting some very filthy chords in there. And again, owing to the nature of the original song in its simplicity overall, what's one way to create variety if you're doing a cover version? Well, it's to have these mad vocal runs, and we saw quite a few of them. Let me try and find a few instances. Ellie going low and high. Yeah, I mean, what a voice he has as well. Insanely high. In this case, he went up to a B at the top, which is 1 note above your typical chorister's highest expected note. And there were, I think, a few other cases of these really rapid runs. And whilst these runs are very impressive, they show such technical skill, so difficult to do. I don't think they're my favorite part of songs in general, usually. I guess it depends on the song and the style. But the one that Anthony did there, going up, insane. And it's those moments that really just highlight the contrast when we get a change into...
Don't put the blame on me.
You can't really have more of a contrast there. Sustained chords in the background. They do change a little bit. They're quite funky chords. Let's have a little dissection now, see what we're hearing before I forget. It was that section after this really climactic bit. Jeff moving down, contrary motion to Anthony moving up, super high in that chest blended voice of his.
'Cause I'm only human after all. Well,
straight away now, dissonance.
I'm only human after all.
So Jeff's melody. So let's stick this note in here at the top, in the middle as well.
Human after all.
I think here, E minor 7, so that's the chord that we finished with, a minor 7th chord, already quite, but then the real clash up at the top, 1 note down from the top note. And choosing to have the clash on the higher up register when people are singing in their head voice, more of a light, airy sound. It's much, I don't want to say clearer. It's actually almost the opposite of clearer. It's quite difficult to pick apart these notes. But compared to having a clash down in the lower ends, for example, that's just a completely different type of sound. So choosing to have it higher up, I think, is definitely the play here.
Well, I'm only human after all.
And now the notes are starting to move. The standout move there is the top, actually. So here's the chord that we had before. And now the top note leaves.
After all, well, I'm only human after all.
Now on the top, which is just very strange. But strange is good, because that's when we get these juicy chords, made even more effective by just the clicking.
Oh, don't put the blame on me.
And then that chord there immediately stands out. What note is that? Again, it's that minor 7th note we heard before, when the chord is a B chord. So we can see it's the 7th note.
Don't put the blame on.
And just for some added juiciness, they have the 2nd note in there as well, the supertonic at the top, but it moves down, arriving on the B, the root, further accentuating this clash. All right, that's enough of the harmony with the juicy chords, but yeah, they're really nice, close chords, not too crazy, just the right level of dissonance, I think, to make you go, "Ooh, that's nice." All right, I'll just go back now, have a listen again, and point out the things that I find to be particularly interesting. Nice opening, really focusing on some of those elements I pointed out in the original song. The bass part, of course, we have Jeff on there. The percussion, they've opted for... How does the original song actually start? Slightly different. Also, it will sound extra weird because the original song is in this key. VoicePlay is singing in this key, 1 semitone up. So hearing one right after the other will naturally sound a bit strange. But as we heard the original song, a bit more rhythmic intensity with that percussion compared to here.
Maybe I'm foolish, maybe I'm blind again.
A very reserved opening, and it stays the same for quite a while, focusing on the chordal elements.
But I'm only human after all. I'm only human after all.
No crazy chords just yet.
Oh, don't put your blame on me. Don't
I do like that slide. I don't know why. I just really like it. I thought that as I was hearing it.
Don't put your blame on me.
We get this black screen.
Take a look in the mirror.
And then the boom, you know, the very plosive percussive element coming in. Caesar takes over the melody. Still, things are fairly low down in terms of register. And when things are lower down, it's a bit harder, I think, to have this wow factor. You know, the climaxes are always things moving up, going high. So again, to avoid things being too repetitive or simple, they need to get variety in there. As we spoke about before, the chords, such as for these 3 lines, don't change. They just stay here on this chord. And that is actually the case here, even though we hear some different chords. Let's have a listen.
Look in the mirror, and what do you see? Do you see it clearer, or are you deceived?
VoicePlay never actually leave this chord, the root chord of B minor. That middle chord there, technically it is a different chord, but it's very temporary. It's called a passing chord because we just pass through it. We start here and end here, even though the notes have changed. For example, this is a B minor chord, but so is this. And so is this. The same notes in different positions. So whilst there is some movement, the guys are changing parts here and there, overall the chord does not change. They are just staying, as in the original song, in that root chord. Quite an interesting way to trick us, deceive us. These words all sound very negative, but I'm sure you know what I mean. It sounds like they're moving around in the harmony, but they're not. They're staying where they are. I just started to play, and weirdly, the lyrics here is actually, "Are you deceived?"
Or are you deceived?
I promise you that's just a weird coincidence, and I don't think Jeff, when arranging this, would have thought, oh, the lyrics here are deceived, let me deceive people by doing passing chords. I don't think that's the case. I think it's just a happy coincidence, but a coincidence nonetheless. And in the rest of the first half, there's not too much to comment on, really. Jeff's bass part starts becoming a bit more frequent.
After all, I'm only human now.
And then comes the rhythms. VoicePlay, as usual, they shift between homophonic singing, where they all sing the same words at the same time as each other, either with the melody or as the backing parts to the melody. Or they'll have chordal parts, sustained, not moving, singing the lyrics or going ooh, a mix of the both. Are they going to be singing staccato or legato, disjointed or smooth? Let's listen to the next phrase. I think it kind of has a lot of it.
Some people got the real problems. Some people out of luck. Some people think I can solve them. Lord heavens above, 'cause I'm only human after all.
So everything I just described there, we really do get in those 15 seconds or so. And if you're getting that much variety already early on, what else can you do? Well, that's when we start to get those little runs.
No.
If you enjoy these videos or find them helpful, please consider supporting me. Patreon has a bunch of exclusive benefits, behind the scenes videos, additional reaction content, Q&A videos, and more. For a one-time donation, you can donate me a hot chocolate at the Buy Me a Coffee link, or become a YouTube member for these groovy emojis and membership badges. And a huge thank you to these lovely people on the screen now. Moving forward a bit.
On me. Don't put your blame on me.
Here, a diminished chord. That's the first sign, I think, that now things might get a little bit more funky in terms of the harmony. The rhythms too, everything regarding the rhythms has been growing, if you will, changing, progressing in its complexity.
Some people think that I can solve them. Lord heavens above.
And that section there, I don't know, maybe you hear it differently to me, but to me, it really does sound peculiar from a harmony perspective, almost archaic, some of the decisions in which notes are being sung. I won't dive into it too much. And that kind of throws me off a little bit. It's unexpected. I just don't know what's coming. I think the skill with arranging in general, to use this arrangement as an example, which was done by Jeff, it's how do you take a song like this, make it your own, whilst perhaps not straying too far from the original song and its overall sentiment or its idea, but also not make your version repetitive or samey, and weirdly working with that, also not make it too random and not too compartmentalized, like a quick section, a slow section. I'm sure it would have been a lot of fun to arrange this one. And I just know at literally every moment there would have been a conscious decision made, either by Jeff or someone else, I'm not too sure, where they go, you know what, how about we get this in here? We haven't had that before. Or, oh, let's do this. We did that earlier. I always find it interesting trying to listen for the repeated ideas, that kind of thing. And this bit, I love what they do with the words. So the lyrics, I'm only human after all, I'm only human after all. We have Anthony singing the melody, the backing parts with their syncopations coming off, coming back in, very disjointed. They're singing the same line, I think.
After all, I'm only human. After all, don't put your blame on me.
Only human. The same line sung underneath Anthony. Yet they just sound so different, completely displaced, but it's the same line. Your brain kind of thinks, how is that working? Moving on a bit again. I think the decision here to really obviously show that the melody is being layered multiple times works well for this song, for the style of song, again, considering what the original sounds like.
You should go searching somewhere higher.
You can really hear the same part layered there. Just creates a bigger sound, especially for this climax moment.
'Cause I'm only human after all.
And as we approach the end, we get this real standout moment of homophony where they are all singing.
'Cause I'm only human, I do what I can.
Overall, the parts don't really move. Jeff's part sings the same note, for example, but typically you'd think that these moments of homophony, everyone singing the same words as each other at the same time, is to really emphasize what's being said, either by the music or by the lyrics. Why? Well, everyone's singing the same thing. There's no other part to focus on, no crazy runs, just the words. And the lyrics here are important. It's the message of the song.
I'm just a man, I do what I can. Don't put the blame.
I'm just a man, I'll do what I can, don't put the blame on me. Definitely impactful to have the homophony there at the end like that. Well, there's their cover of Human by Rag and Bone Man. I think this one was quite different for many reasons compared to a lot of the VoicePlay I've heard before. So yeah, I'm keen to go and listen to this a few more times, see things that I might have missed in there. But as always with VoicePlay, we don't know what to expect. We don't know what's coming, and there were certainly quite a few surprises in there. As always, thank you very much for watching. Would appreciate a like and a comment on the video. That really, really helps with the algorithm. Subscribe if you haven't, and I will see you next time.